of Limbus company. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? Because the Princess Maker game is finally here. Yes, the spring cultivation of our little sister. I cannot believe it. I'm pretty sure they're not going to create a whole Princess Maker theme though, because that would be a bit overkill. But the idea that we even have a chance to train her at all is glorious. I mean, look at Dawn. She's so eager to teach. And Sinclair has to clean up and meditate with her. He doesn't really seem to enjoy it that much, but at the very least, Dawn has fun. Now, one little thing though. As you can probably see from over there, I already did my mirror dungeon runs for this week and had a bit of trouble figuring out which unit I need to bring. Oh no. Okay. Doesn't really matter with the Sinclairs. I don't understand why any Sinclair counts. Okay. Pretty sure Haisha Sinclair isn't a shop. Yeseng needs to be pulled, so I'm just going for the support. I should get at least Ishmael for the extra bonus, because I really want to get the Sinclair phone. How many do I need for that again? I think 400, right? How many? Ooh, okay. 1 second. There you go. Welcome aboard. Have to say though, I'm a little bit surprised about the fact that they aren't asking for the Haisha Pact. Considering that that's literally her thing, but... oh well. It's probably for the best. Otherwise it would become so much more expensive because I don't have Rodion or Gregor. I also still need to get Faust at some point. On the other hand, I would have already had Rodion and Otis. But alas, oh well, at the very least now we have a 60% bonus, and that's all that matters. Especially for my next run in the mirror dungeon. Anyways, let us start our training. The family hierarch. Oh! Dong Yuan, Haisha House Assembly. I'm pretty sure we never had the opportunity to see this room before. Alright then. The hall was chill, with tense air. And those present all sat in complete silence. Then there was Xia Chunchun, with her lips slightly curled into a mirthless sneer. Of course, because all of her plans were ruined during the last counter. But I guess she still has a ace up of her sleeves. Why is she looking like that? And at the center of it all sat Xia Chunchun, unsure what to say next. Well, everyone, Xia Chunchun, seated next to the hierarch seats upon which Chuan sat, smoothly takes control of the situation and begins the assembly. Honored heads of the house, lords of each family, their proxies, members, and... She nods slightly, acknowledging our awkward present. Ah, don't worry about us. Hey, we're not just guests. We are the honored members of Limbus company. You know. Well, who stay here at our age corp seem to be extending without foreseeing. Are you calling us leeches right now? Wow. But isn't she technically from Q Corp as well? What's up with her acting like she's any less of an outsider than we are? I know, right, Gregor? Yeah, and wait, did everyone catch that? Our H Corp? Well, regardless of everything else, the fact that she hijacked the meeting from the get-go is ridiculous, especially with Xia Chunchun here, the actual family hierarch. presenting over this official assembly like that is kinda like she's taking control. Clearly, she's using the pretense of assisting the hierarch to assert her own dominions over the procedures. As we are all aware, venerable former Chiamu has always discussed with and confided in me about the matters of greatest importance, the momentous of which steers the very course of H-Corp's prospects. Even after I departed from the family to Q-Corp, venerable former Chiamu has always written missives to converse such matters with me. Why? Why would she need to do something like that? Unless of course she's just lying now that she's gone. Is anybody able to prove this? Oh well. Something about it smells suspicious, but we are already missing the window to challenge her to present us with proof without breaking decorum? Thus, as it naturally follows that I would be inheritors of venerable Chiamu's will, I shall be presiding over this regular assembly, which we convert now to discuss and determine the future of H-Corp. She has a will? I see. What a gracious and self-important introduction. It seemed clear to me that she considers herself to be the main character of this whole scene. Or something like that. Great. Oh, I love that. Your grace certainly befits the station, young lady Yongchun. And now they're buttering her up. Of course! We are all impressed by your utmost dedication to the citizens of Hung Yuan, despite your already saturated schedule. We can hardly thank you enough for your magnanimity, Lady Yongchun. And my parents, it's truly a shame that they couldn't be here, have always sung praises of your expertise, Lady Yongchun. Responses from the participants are just as protracted, only obsequence instead of arrogant. As head of some of the houses were under investigation for consorting with forces foreign to Hung Yuan. Their vacuum was filled by their children's generation, many of whom we had the pleasure of meeting before during the family hierarch war, especially the guy that used his allies as meat shields. Never going to forget that guy. He ripped me off, stole my coins, and ran away. I hate him. Very well then, shall we? Welcome Jia Xinxun, the next person to sit upon the seat of Hung Yuan's family hierarch. Greetings. Now let us begin. Are you serious? She didn't even say anything yet. For many years, all those who have gathered here have toiled days and night for the eternal prosperity and growth of H-Corp. Seriously? Chichun's expression immediately soured as Chongchun unceremoniously cut off her introduction. At this point of time, I think she has the right to just toss her out of the room. Doesn't she as the head? I mean, sure, she might look a little bit like a tyrant there, but she is stepping out of line. She doesn't respect her in the slightest. Well, first on the agenda for this assembly are urgent discussion and passage of new major policy item that has been tabled for far too long. Distributive contribution right to auctions policy? Quarterly amnesty? What? Hey! Hold on, big sister Chon. Passing the distributive contribution right auction would allow the open auction for any remaining rooms the day before reconstruction days. And the quarterly amnesty wouldn't do anything about giving unfair advantage to certain families and high net worth individuals by guaranteeing them a large real estate assignment regardless of their performance in the previous quarters. Oh, so is she buying favors right now by pushing this policy? Let's see, or maybe she just want to claim it for herself. Either way, Chichin stutters a little, flustered before continuing. My point is, these policies are going to rattle HCOP's economy the moment they're going into effect, so we should probably consider them very carefully. Besides, these policies were pretty much drawn to favor lining the pockets of selected few families and high-ranked officers of HCorp. They don't benefit at all the public and... if I may, Venerable Hayek, lining the pockets, you say? That is quite an odd turn of phrasing to refer to the bare minimum of respect that the society might repay to its highest contributing members. Don't you think? Oh no. Oh, and before we continue, Chin-Chun, I'm not entirely certain if you're aware, but ever since the ascension of the new family Hayek, the perceived value of Hong Yuan has been racing to the, well, for the lack of a better word, rock bottom? What? Certainly, this demonstrated Hong Yuan's concern and, well, its lack of faith in the newly appointed family Hayek, even though they used these methods of selecting the Hayek for years and generations. They've never been bothered by it before, so why is it now? Huh? Look at her! Therefore, it is naturally to follow that our most urgent task at hand is to put a stop to this value and reputation freefall and restore prosperity and greatness to Hong Yuan once again. Yeah, okay, and that is the family Hayek's shop, right? So why are you... Well, if you had perused HCorp's article of situation, you would have known that, should HCorp be deemed to be in a state of crisis, the 4 great houses and the board of directors' voice may also carry a de facto power in the assembly. And the board of direction, well, that is us, has determined that we are now in a state of a crisis. What do you mean? She just sat down. You can't just consider that a crisis now. You guys are the cause of that crisis. State of a crisis? Which crisis? Everything that led to my ascension to the family Hayek was legitimate, down to the final approval. These unseemly rumors and slander are tanking our value, which we have built up assiduously throughout years upon years of toils. So, what is it, if not a state of crisis? And who wouldn't doubt the family Hayek's qualities, when this decline has coincidentally precisely within her ascension that you guys caused? This was a plan all along. From the very start, even if they failed, they had a backup plan. God damn it! Jia Chin-Chun was somewhat turning the room against Chin-Chun without presenting a single shred of evidence, portraying her as some burdensome Hayek who has single-handedly tanked HCorp's value. No one in the assembly, not a single representative from any family present, stepped up in pointing out how Jia Chin-Chun's swift action were what finally repelled the outside forces that had marched right to Hong Yuan's front yard. They were about to start a war if she wasn't swift enough, and now you're blaming all of that on her? God damn it! I hate them. I hate every single one of them. They should all be replaced. Create new houses, new pillars, I don't care. Get rid of all of them. Or how she definitely maneuvered her forces to quell the ember of war by quickly taking control of the chaos within Dong Yuan. She hadn't shown any glaring sign of incompetence since her ascension, despite her relative inexperience. But, everyone in Hong Yuan's board of directors, the head of each family, avert their eyes as though all of them had somehow, inconceivably, slipped their mind. So, do you take yourself to be a qualified individual for that responsibility, Chin-Chun? Very well then. Then proceed. We are all waiting for you to begin your briefing before the assembly regarding the last 30 years quarterly... Wait, what? The network revenue records of Hong Yuan singularity-related businesses? Your calculation on next year's fiscal debt forecast? and exact recipes in various numbers for the boluses that have been registered. What the hell are you expecting her to do? She literally just took seed. She wasn't even home for the last couple of years because she was supposed to find spring water. How's she supposed to look into 30 years of data? What the hell is... You literally sat on a chair for years doing nothing. You had all the time in the world. What kind of hell is this? Bureaucracy? Oh my god! Well, the vulnerable Hayek has not received that data prior to the meeting yet. You must all be well aware of the chaos that followed the ascension. We are still indexing all available materials to... Well, isn't that funny? Not once in the history of Hong Yuan has the family Hayek ever failed to provide immediate and detailed answers regarding Hong Yuan's historical statistics. I wonder why. Probably because of that worm thing. I wonder if you know about that worm thing. Would you have loved to carry that thing in your body? By all means. I would gladly give it to you. I would personally shove it in your face if I have to. Sorry about that. Jia Chun must have known all along too. She must have known how the previous family Hayek were all directly supplied with an immense responsibility of information through the Xiaowang worm or something of the quality. And she's using it to target Chinchu's weakness, knowingly asking questions that she, the first family Hayek without the damn thing, couldn't possibly answer. Now then, the responsibility is tied to the vulnerable seed of the Hayek, Chia Mu, are matched only by the greatest power bestowed upon it. Thus, how are we to leave the matters of the wing to someone who is so evidently unprepared for the task? Given the present circumstances, our hands may be forced to call to vote the motion of no confidence. The what? A motion of no confidence, when passed by the high-ranked politician official, can result in the removal of the chief executive from office. Are you serious right now? So they're going after Chinchun's power. So this is the picture that Jia Chunchun wanted to paint. Impotent family Hayek stammering and stumbling for a first meeting, to the total and near unanimous lack of support from HCOP's board of directors. Well, whatever jargon they are on about, seems to me that they got not an ounce of respect for the last, or even us to begin with. Never trust dwarves overly obsessed with numbers and optimization. They'll be the first one to kick you out the moment they no longer see you as useful. You're not the only one who's pissed off here, so can you please stop shaking your leg for a second? Don't need to make our frustration any more obvious, you know? We're going to get them back later, for sure! For absolute sure! My ass would have left the chair long ago if it weren't for this... well, mess. In HCorp, should the board of directors unanimously vote in favor of the motion, certain part of the family Hayek's power will be removed. It is entirely possible that she will become a Hayek in name only. So they're threatening to fire her unless she falls in line. This is some needlessly convoluted way to... The assembly will now consider the motion of no confidence. Are there any objection to bring the motion of no confidence against the family Hayek, Jia Chun, to the floor? Hey, hold on a second! The vote of no confidence isn't an item that you can just invoke so lightly, especially since you didn't even give her a chance yet! The Shi family has no objection. What? Let's say the Wang family has no objection either. What? Zhu family too. The rest of the previous family heads seem to have changed precisely to nothing. Those in power wore more youthful faces, but their tongues still carry the same old resistance to change. The new family heads were just as uncooperative as ever, and everyone seemed to be solely interested in staying in Jia Chunchun's good grace. New faces. Same old. And needless to say, Heathcliff wasn't the only sinner fuming with rage. This was far too vexing to simply watch and do nothing. Right? I knew you wouldn't let this slide, Don. They're walking all over her, like she's not even here. Forsooth, we cannot let just injustice transpire unabated like this. Hey, seems like we're both on the same page here. That's it. I'm not going to hesitate to make myself heard again. This time, I want to be the courageous one. With your help, Don, please, he needs your voice. Come on, let's do this together, okay? Very well. I am in agreement. Yeah, then let's go on 3 at the same time. If there are no objections. 1, 2... The Assembly will put this resolution to vote in a month, and 3! Here! I object, Your Honor! How dare you make such a face! Bloody hell! Have you gone mental? Sinclair stood tall at the center of the entire room's undivided attention. Alone. Don? Don! Don sat firmly in her seat, gazing upon Sinclair's proud stand and rubbing her nose. She's so proud. Oh, young Sinclair, thou hast evolved indeed. What an amateur and a pursuer of justice thou hast become, with such unrelenting fervor and utter disregard of the decorum. Certainly, mine efforts have finally borne fruit. What the hell? Wait, did Don or Heathcliff suddenly rip off on you or something? No, wait, no, what happened there, Don? What happened to objecting together? Oh, I had taken thy suggestion to mean that we must voice our dissatisfaction through the office channel, borrowing the title of the illustrious Red Gaze and the department of LCC because they have higher titles than ours. But guess not. That is not something that Don would usually say. You're slipping! You're slipping! Dispute and succession of powers on such a high level of government are hardly ever resolved with harsh grandstanders. Would I not agree? Oh, come on! Wait, why are you normal all of a sudden? Lad, what has just happened? What happened to the clamly and meeky boy? Well, I guess I just assumed that this is how Limbus company rolls, and I thought I had your back, guys. Well, it seems like there's been an unexpected outburst from Chin-Chun's guest. Withdraw your objection, and we will consider this a momentarily loss of control, and not enter it as an official statement. Sinclair's eyes were shaky, like someone with his life on the line. Please don't. She needs this right now. Sinclair, stand strong! If not, I'll take it that you have full confidence in her abilities. So please, I encourage you to elaborate. When and how will Shin-Chun demonstrate her aptitude for the responsibilities of family hierarchy? His voice continued to shrivel into a corner. He can't. And how could anyone, right? How could anyone when we all had very clear views of a path to ascension? During the family hire graduation, Chia Bao Yu donated the coins that he received from Chia Chu to you. Essentially, you pity parties your way to your victory. Pity? What the hell? That was a consensual plan from the very beginning. I mean, we never really wanted to become the Hayek in the first place, and we did kind of wanted to get hired by her. So it all fell back into the place, you know? It had nothing to do with pity. Oh. And for your ascension, Chia Chu and those outsiders from an upstarting company had to, well, almost literally, carry you to the seat. Has there even been a single victory attained by your own hands in that entire process? Well, But have we not all been witness to the qualities that she has exhibited during the family Hayek elevation and her own ascension? You must have no shame, snaking your folded tongue in the audience of both heaven and earth, like an unwitted buffoon. That is when quiet, even footstep, broke through Jia Chun-chun's merciless dismantling of Jia Chun-chun. Yes, the girl! Zigong! Yet, I do see the point. The Hayek, with her grace, need only demonstrate her already established qualities before all. This is no place for an outsider to speak, but proceed. Just how will she prove herself before us? What an odd statement, coming from a fellow outsider who's been chatting for minutes to an end. But forgive me, I could only presume for your verbosity that the right to speak in this forum was open to all outsiders. Yes! You have said it yourself, no? That the vote of the no confidential result will proceed in a month. That seemed to give the vulnerable Hayek a month to regain the trust of each of the families. What? It is rather clear to me that there are many who find their own defeat in the family Hayek war difficult to accept. Such a doubt is easily resolved. A match between clans should lay out the result quite obviously. Very well then. A fair challenge between clans, which would preclude the participation of the family Hayek's Haisho Park and the Chia Lan's guard. So you would remove her cannon and chariot before the game even begins. Why not make this test a series of sparring matches in both academia and martial art then, if such is the case? What audacity! Do you truly have so much faith in Jia Chun's abilities? Well, I certainly have more faith in her than you. You must know the consequences of failing these matches, no? It would be an unanimous, one-sided end to the votes of no confidentiality. And naturally, any and all rights apparent to the family Hayek shall be transferred to the board of directors. That is fine by us. You're all free to choose any champion who you see fit. Well, unfortunately, your underlings don't seem to share your inflated confidence. But, in the middle of the confusion, flabbergasted silence from the other sinners, a clear, carefree, yet defiant voice rings out. Hong Lu retorts. That's not true at all, big sister Yuan-chun. We actually have just as much confidence in Chin-chun as she does. Yeah, of course. We have a back. His wide eyes stare directly and unblinking into Jia Yuan-chun's. It occurs to me that this might be his way of expressing his anger. Impudent child! How dare he stares me down like this? Then, you're welcome to try. 1 month. You have but 1 month to prove before all in audience that she is indeed fit to be the family Hayek. Should you fail, the vote may as well be a mere formality. Well, in other words, should she successfully prove herself, none of you shall again rightly challenge the independency right and power bestowed upon the family Hayek herself. The consequences of such recalibration would be no different from those that the traitors are facing. Wouldn't you agree? Well then, we will excuse ourselves now. Wait, but I'm... Zigong turned around towards us with the same mysterious smile and slowly directed us outside the assembly hall. We may call them sparring matches, but you must know that each and every one of them is a test to prove your claim to the seat of the family Hayek. A month is a time far too brief for drastic improvement, regardless of who it may be. Learning from a proper master for 10 months straight might teach you a few things, but who knows how long the search for one such master might take, not to mention the official channel for which you must bring them past Dong Yuan's wall. which may take up to 2 months at most. Why not relent now and relinquish but a part of your power as the family hierarch to the board of directors? Because that wouldn't be enough! You would take a finger at first or maybe a hand, but soon you will rip her in half! I know that game! They always try that! Well, it seems that this fellow outsider's mental facilities are impressively lacking in that department. My lord has spoken in the past that, when in the presence of 3 people, at least one of them is bound to be a teacher of mine. And here they are, aren't they? Jia Qingqing's masters, each carrying something new to teach her. All 13 of them! Yes! Zigong gestured confidently towards the flabbergasted sinners, and the assembly came to an end. Oh god! Oh god! It's gonna be difficult. There's only so much time that you have in a month. This is so much. Why is it just 12? She said 13! Am I not included anymore? What happened there? What happened there? This. Well, I guess we were planning to train Jia Qingqing anyways, but it seems that we are now under an unexpected deadline here. Yeah. Hey, when you said the LCB was going to help me out, did you guys mean that you were going to publicly humiliate the crap out of me? No, that wasn't the plan. Of course not. Big sister Yuan-Shun's an old snake. You're just giving her 30 days to set the perfect stage for my downfall, to prove to the world once and for all that I'm not qualified. But Qingqing, weren't you always so good at humbling anyone who dares to underestimate you? Not that much anymore. Back then, like an idiot, I thought I just had to hold on with everything that I had. I thought that's all I ever had to do. But now... And? Now... things are different, you know? It's true that I'm vastly underqualified to be the family hierarch, and I guess she's right about that. I pretty much lucked into this position. Qingqing, don't tell me that woman's bullshit actually got to you. I mean, we have selected you out of all the candidates. And we were your chariot at that point, right? Come on now, have some trust in yourself here. Well, she wasn't completely wrong, was she? I'm just some kid who happened to be just good enough to survive some traps and ambushes. I'm afraid that the responsibility of family hierarch might be too much. Her self-confidence has significantly decreased compared to observation from our previous interactions. Well, to be fair, not a single director was on her side. That must have probably hurt a lot. The heck, Qingqing? I don't remember that you had this kind of character. Where's the proudful little sister that we know and love? What happened to the girl who looked down on us the moment that we've met? You even had the audacity to pretend to not know who we were, didn't you? Where did all that confidence go when you screamed your lungs out because we ate your food and didn't hold on to the contract? Where is she? I guess that actually got under her skin back then, huh? So, Qingqing, what do you want to do now? Are you sure that you're okay with this? Are you okay with letting this happen? If I let it happen, Big Sister Yuan-Shun is going to continue expanding her influence here as an outsider, which is not good. I'm sure she and the board of directors have been cozying up to each other for a long, long time now. It is the implication that her testament on her influence were true then. Yeah, that's true. Before she left to Q-Corp, Big Sister Yuan-Shun used to always accompany Jia Mu to these assemblies. If we just let them hold the votes of no confidentiality, they're just going to anonymously vote against me and slowly reduce the family hierarch's scope of power. And who knows, they might even call a re-evaluation. however unlikely that sounds. Besides, Big Sister Chun Chun, I think her definition of Hong Yuan's prosperity might be different from mine. What she's looking for isn't H-Corp's prosperity in Dong Yuan's. And I know this all has something to do with ties to Q-Corp as well, which I bet has already been going on for a while, just under my radar. I'm sure they already had plenty of talks behind my back as well. Which is not the kind of vision that you have for Hong Yuan's future, right? And that is why you spoke up against her. My vision for Hong Yuan is... I want to change it. To be kind of a place where people can live without fear of getting dropped out of the buildings. I just never imagined that I would have to prove myself like this. And in only 30 days. Even then, your vision hasn't changed, right? It hasn't. Well, great. So it's decided then, huh? We just need Fao to deliver the bad news to Saude. All right. Well, Saude is good at making plans. Maybe she can prepare a schedule for us, huh? Breakfast? You get that message across? Anyways, to summarize. The responsibility of training Chin Chun to win these matches, these Emperor's test upon which hinges the family Hayek's fate, and almost every facet of which is entirely under Chin Chun's control, by the way, is probably a trap. Within the next 30 days is our... Okay, how exactly are we going to explain that to Saude? Wow, I guess it does sound like a lot of work when you put it like that. And we have to train Dayak in almost no time. And prepare for a trap, and all sorts of ambushes, and all sorts of other things that she's going to throw in our way. Well, the post-mortem reports have become quite throated here. Either way, sometime later. Pretty! Thou must impress upon the illustrious red gaze that it wasn't my idea, alright? Sinclair stares blankly at Dawn as she made her desperate pleas towards Saude. Yes, and I totally understand it as well. For the 8th time! As always, Saude was wearing the same refreshing, incomprehensible smile. She's not angry in the slightest, guys. There's nothing to worry about. The kind of smile that makes people increasingly anxious the longer that it lasts. As I said, she's not angry. Well, I guess that's about 30 days, during which those sparring matches, tests, well, or whatever it's called, will happen as well. Great. Then let's give it our best. Sinclair mutters in a near whisper, clearly feeling responsible for what has happened. Yes, I understand. I never should have stepped out of line like that. But something just... Yeah, so let's just give it our best, alright? Yeah, I totally agree. We messed everything up again and... Wait, what? Limbus Company was always going to remain here and assist Miss Jia Chinchun's acclimatization herself to the responsibilities of family Hayek. It was always part of our plan. Well, I'm sure I'm glad that I took Foss' advice about how meticulous planning is completely pointless when it comes to LCP's missions. I never would have had to submit 9 separate disciplinary incident reports back during the J-Corp incidents had I known about that beforehand. You had to submit 9 reports? Because all the plans went horrible? Oh, I'm so sorry about that. I believe I should be able to explain this further. Oh, hey there, Zigong. Prior to his departure, my lord was concerned that such a thing would come to pass. That is why he has left Zilu and I here to look after the new family high exposition, which must still be on rather thin ice. Makes sense. That's a big rudder for you. So that is what they were privately talking about when he pulled him aside. Doing nothing and allowing her wicked machination to proceed would have irrevoltedly made the entire board of directors nothing but putty and Shuachun's hands. And that would have led that snake to de facto assume the seat of family hierarchy. Against such an insidious foe who wields intrigue as her weapons, the most viable strategy is the most direct one, to challenge her head on. I see. And besides, has this not yet given you an excuse you need to prolong your company's stay in Dangyuan? This is also a prime opportunity for Chun to further solidify her influence here, depending on the outcome of the votes of no confidence. They have played right into our hands by accepting these deals. So, I don't really want to rain on everyone's parade here, but are we not even going to consider what might happen if we fail? Yeah, we should probably consider that as well. No, we are not. Because you will not fail. Not with us aiding your efforts. Ah, she's very serious about this matter. Also, were you serious back then when you said that we are all going to teach Xia Chun? All... Wait, not 12! 13! I'm pretty sure she said 13! She included me, didn't she? Or maybe even Saude. That would make us 14. Why are you changing the numbers now? That's not fair! Well, I won't object to select only a few us with better aptitude to be educators. Oh, and by the way, we've already have an established internal hierarchy based on the sum of each of our abilities. Of course, the results weren't entirely to my satisfaction, due to an unexpected incident. Incident? Miss Otis, that is a statement mired in narrow-visioned rift with factual refraction. I am of the stance that the quality of a good teacher are defined not by such statistics. So you must be the one who placed last in the scale of power! You say! Oh. Just don't say anything but. Best not to stand out like a sore thumb, right? I guess I may have overreacted then. My lord has said, from the virtuous we may learn to replicate their merits. From the flawed we may learn to avoid their failings. As long as the student is willing to learn, anyone, anything, can become their teacher. I also, to embrace this teaching, seek from all those who we come across. Just what in the heavens are you doing, Zigong? I am preparing a lesson plan for Yon Chun, our family high... Wow, you sure got on that fast, huh? So, what are these yellow wormy things here? What the hell? This is a star! Twinkly, twinkly in all of its radiance. Is she going to collect stars from you as bonus points? Well, according to the schedule you have prepared, the student would have a negative 3 hours available of sleep. She doesn't even have time to sleep. This lesson plans executes will require cooperation of Teacup to negate the negative numbers. That would be a mistake most fatal indeed! I shall correct it post-haste! Zigong? Okay, first and foremost, the first thing that you need to learn from us if you need to stay in our present. Expect the unexpected! They will crush your worldview every chance that they get. And the next 30 days are going to feel like a year. For you. Specifically for you. You are too logical for this world. It's like having Saude 2.0 here. Zigong was staring at Dawn's expression of her wild, artistic merit upon the curiolum with her usual crescent moon eyes. Wait, is that supposed to be Zigong's grimace? Of course. I guess each of their own, I suppose. I need not be shaken by every little thing until we have the actual lesson plan in hand. True. Well, hey, thanks for putting your faith in us, Zigong. We barely have any of that to go around ourselves. I understand that it couldn't have been easy. Oh, God. You could say that I've learned my lesson here. Oh, you definitely did. The recent events have taught me that the path of learning is truly one without end. Can't wait for her to share her stories to the brother. Kinda wish he was here right now. That would be hilarious. Wait, another student? Who's the other student? I see that you have all individuals working on your lesson plan, as per Zigong's request. Zilu? Zilu! We never had a chance to see her face before. Well, we saw her eye a bunch of time, but I guess that doesn't really count. Oh, that's cool. She still has a body thing. I have received a total of 12 lesson plans. Hold on, shouldn't there be 13 of them? Even the executive manager has decided to spare their precious time to teach a class, right? Yeah. I handed in my lesson plan as well. Well, that is because... Okay, so who didn't do their homework? After a brief silence, everyone turned around and looked at one of the sinners. Heathcliff? You didn't write a plan? Seriously? No, wait, it ain't me. Oh? Oh, please, at least try to make a compelling argument here. Who else other than you could possibly... It's... me. Sinclair? But Zink, you've been acting out of character a lot recently. What is going on here? Well, that's because... Sinclair was drenched in sweat for some reason. Actually, why are you blushing? In Sinclair's seat was a large stick of paper, each filled to the brim with writing. Sinclair, are these papers? I'm done. Huh? Sorry, I got too into making the lesson plan and just couldn't stop myself from writing and... Well... Sinclair couldn't have appeared more proud as he placed a big bundle of sweat-soaked paper into Zilu's hands. Just how much did you write? Can you even read this? And she received it with mild trepidation. Okay, well, you seem to have dedicated quite a momentous effort here in drawing up this lesson plan. What's up with her now? Well, anyways, let's start reviewing for the first of the steps. 108. An analytical approach to an statistics A? What? Wait, what exactly does AAA mean? And how do you plan to explore all 108 approaches in a month? Appreciation of statistics in assassination. Did you learn that from Ryoshu perchance? You did! Sinclair! F you! Went too far! Right. Sorry about that. Flip a page and continue reading for those 108 approaches. Wait, what paint did you use? It's quite vicious, and the papers are particularly melting. Oh, lady, watch yourself. You almost got some of that on my arm. A painting? Oh no. Is it blood? Zilu? Entrails. Coding the world! Oh my god, she's so adorable. Why is she so adorable now? Now you know how aesthetic appreciation the artistic of Saude is. Just what the hell did you paint in those Hey, get it together, Zilu! Zilu stumbled briefly. Whatever was on paper must have given her quite the shock. My mind wandered for a moment. This is too dangerous to be used for a lesson. Thus, I guess it has to be on the discard pile. Oh, such a weak sauce. But she calls herself an assassin, right, Feburary? But to be fair, you kill quite crudely sometimes. Zilu crumbled up the paper without hesitation and tossed it out of sight. Alright, next. Intro into the Society Reintegration. Okay, that is an impressive title. Chapter 1. How to shake hands with your left hand when the situation calls for it. What? Gregor? Chapter 2. Exploration of exclusively long sleeves fashion and practice. Aha! Chapter 3. Projecting confidence and why have a bug arm is actually totally cool. What are you guys trying to teach her? You know how it is, right? Be proud of who you are. All the philosopher stuff. I want this lesson to give a bit of a paradigm shift where we all come close to seeing our flaws, not as failing, but as evidence of our individuality. Which will usher in a world where we can carry on with our lives no matter what kind of arm that we have and... Discarded. Alright, next one. Zilu quickly flip through the pages. Intro to Denigrative Linguistic. Subheading. The power of word. Sticks and stones may break thy bones. So let's add words to the pile? Otis? My credential includes the ability to dress down an opponent so hard that they fall to their knees and beg me to stop. I have plans for application as well. The lesson teaches methods pertaining to disguising compliments in criticism and vice versa. Okay. All of this seems rather difficult to learn. I have concluded from my hetero observation that Shreads is an individual of great promise in this field already. It's just a matter of time for her to master the craft. Follow my instruction to a T, and I can guarantee you that this cadet shall be able to have the upper hand in any verbal confrontation. She might actually need that against the snake. Is this supposed to be a curriculum to make the best brawler or the best family hierarch out of me? Sina seems quite interested about it, but Shreads' mental veto eventually overruled the suggestion. Oh well, maybe you can learn something later from her. On Justice, another impressive title. Subheading, Meteorology of captivating an entire room of preoccupied audience? Discarded. Fire D! Wherefore? You didn't even read the second chapter! Next. Praxis of ego splitting concerning inter-mirror conflicts between the self and the refraction of paradoxic ally fraction theory of idealism in which one attempts to open up an unopened door to open the... What? Utterly incomprehensible. She has nothing to do with ego yet. She's too young for that stuff. She has not even acquired her own ID card system yet. Perhaps Miss Rioche's advice to truncate the lesson title should have been taken in earnest. Okay, next we have Survival and Exploration. 21 reasons to pay attention to when exploration team leader is giving advices on the upcoming adventure. Case study for 30 horrible mistakes that occur because the team was distracted during the leaders. Is that from Ishmael? How to track down a troublemaker who tries to sweep trouble under the rug while the team leader is looking. Someone ignored my advice that we should have been moving 2 steps ahead. Finally, I've narrowed them down to 3 culprits. It is Ishmael! Wait, I forgot to take that part out in the... Oh god! And into the shredder it went. When did that paper shredder get here? And what's up with that drawing? The art of using yawning as a cover for popping a cookie or two into your mouth, especially useful when getting lectured, Rodion. Hey, if you get good enough at that, you can do it with nuts too. So it was you who made those crunching noises in our last meeting, I see. No! Oh, what makes you think of me as such an amateur? The art of social maneuvers. How to let it flow through you. How to not make things awkward when you walk right in on someone's bath-mouthing you. The most important part of this art is to flash a refreshing smile in a way that looks earnest. It helps when you convince yourself that smile is what brings good fortune to you as well. Seriously? Smile have a way to disarm people after all, giving them a moment to pause and making them hesitate. I remember that. Big Brother used the technique to confuse a lot of Dangyuan's people who usually hated him. So we can keep it? I can't quite bring myself to throw this into the shredder. What is it? Next, how to remain in complete silence for a week until the next command is received. Result? This lesson plan was designed based on Rodion's advice that I must prioritize strengths that are unique to myself. I see. Well, look, in my defense, I didn't know he was considering that to be his unique strength, okay? I was expecting something else, like muscle strengthening training or something like that. Let us consider whether standing in complete silence for a week is a quality one might seek in the family hierarchy. Probably not. This one is certainly interesting though. What separates bravado from bravery? Oh, check shit! Sort off and grab your weapons! Yep, always gotta read the full print, huh? It's my philosophy that reasons don't necessarily need to be considered before coming to blows. Good to know. Martial prowess is indeed an indispensable part of the family hierarchy's qualities. So are you considering this? But our focus is not on developing a hierarchy of a syndical. Next. Information disparity as a driver of inadequate treatment? Huh? Oh, wait, that sounds actually interesting. And the application of engineering frameworks. Huh? Okay, it's kind of losing me already. But I'm still on board on it. For systematic resolution in... Wait, what? In rational self-interest, die Gesellschaft, driven society and... Well, I don't think she can copy that, Faust. Wait, is it still going? That was 1/5 of the full title. Oh god, Faust is just like he's saying... It seems that the same trouble has hindered both you and I. Every word in that title was added for its absolute necessity. Indeed, I can totally understand that. But not the others! It was probably a good read! I would have read